When it comes to breeding and raising horses, the most important thing, in my opinion, is how the horses are fed. Hey ladies, you guys looking for something to eat? Hey? You guys hungry? You only get one chance when horses are young, when they're baby foals, weanlings, yearlings, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, to make sure their nutrition needs are met. When people come to the ranch and they look at my yearlings, most people comment and say, oh my goodness, they look like 2-year-olds. They might even look like 3-year-olds. They're big, they're stout, they're pretty, they're well-fed. That's because of the nutrition. The most important nutrition for a horse is what you feed them for hay. That's why I feed Standlee hay. My yearling fillies, my yearling stud colts, they have as much access to the Standlee pellets as they possibly can. They also get pasture and they get time to run around and play and blow off that excess steam. But good quality alfalfa will make a young horse grow incredibly quick. Now, it doesn't make them grow that quick that it hurts their joints or their bones or anything like that, but it gives them that foundation of a good growth pattern. When horses are stunted, when they're little and they don't get fed correctly, you can almost never make it up. So listen, mate, come with me as we talk about Standlee hay and why you need to feed it.
I'm Clinton Anderson, and I have a method for training horses. Getting horses to behave is simple. It's training people that's the real trick. Join me as I tackle some of the most challenging situations with problem horses and with problem owners.
What's going on, big fella? You waiting for some hay? You hungry? You looking for something to eat, are you? Come here, big fella. You guys have seen Titan from the very beginning. From a baby foal, he knows nothing but the Standlee feeding program. That's why he's big, he's strong, he's robust. A lot of you guys have been following Titan's training on the YouTube videos, and he's coming along really well. But the only reason that he's mature the way he is because of what we feed him. So over the last 2.5 years, Titan's made a lot of change as well. Well, Standlee also believe in change. They've had a lot of innovation in the last 4 years. In fact, that was the last time I was up there. So listen, mate, let's head up there to Idaho. Let's see what Standlee are up to and what kind of innovation they're up to next. Come on.
We chose Idaho because my family moved here a long time ago, so I didn't choose Idaho, but my family definitely did. I worked for my grandfather doing hay for him, and then my father purchased 240 acres in the early 90s. That's where his home is today. The family grew up there. Since the early 1990s, we have expanded into multiple farms across southern Idaho. Today we farm 30,000 acres, mostly alfalfa and timothy grass. My dad has stepped down, but he still holds me accountable when things aren't right. I've taken on the role of CEO and president. I have a leadership team that's been here a while. They're very passionate about the business. I can't say enough about those guys.
At Standlee, quality is part of our value proposition, and that starts in the field, which is why we make the investments in the farmland to start our quality control and assurance right in the field with the planting of the seed.
We feel like Idaho should be as well known for growing forages as it is potatoes because it does grow such high quality forage. Idaho is a great area for raising alfalfa with its volcanic soils and the moisture we get. Most of our moisture is in the winter. It's pretty dry in the summer, so it's very good for drying down the hay. And we have a lot of irrigation water out of the Snake River and the surrounding mountains from the snowpack.
We started out focused in equine. That's what started the business for us. Today, we feed all sorts of animals. We're focused on new products for chickens and goats, and we want to continue to grow and take care of the consumer that's got some backyard animals and they're passionate about what they feed their animals.
We invest in the right type of equipment and people to make sure that the forage is being cared for as it's going through the manufacturing process, all the way through distribution and to the retail shelf. Not all forage is grown the same, which is why we go out and we invest in additional land. And the consumers can know exactly where that forage came from to ultimately end up in their feed, in their barn.
We brought Clinton up so he could pick out his own premium Western forage and take it back to the ranch in Texas and have confidence for his animals.
Dusty, how are you, mate?
Hey, Clinton, doing good. Good to have you back.
Well, it's good to be here, mate. It's been almost 4 years since I was up here in this beautiful country up here in Idaho. It's absolutely stunning. What are we up to today? What are you doing?
Well, we'd like to run you around the farms and pick out some Standlee Premium Western forage for you.
So that's what you're doing right here. What kind of a field are we in right now, mate?
This is premium alfalfa here.
Let me ask you this question, because people ask me this a lot, and I don't exactly have the right answer. I just know the quality is what I want, but I don't know the right exact technical answer. What makes the hay here in Idaho so much better than everywhere else? You know what I mean? Because that's what they'll say to me. Why do you ship it all the way from Idaho to Texas when you could get hay a lot closer? And I tell them it's because of the quality and the consistency. But is there a more technical answer of why you guys grow it up here?
You bet. I mean, we have, rich soils here. Our climate is just fit for the perfect forage. Obviously, our great employees, I mean, we take pride throughout the company.
So tell me, up here in Idaho, you've got what, the right amount of rainfall, or how much rainfall do you get up here annually?
We only get 7 or 8 inches of rain a year. The climate is just ideal for growing and harvesting premium Western forage. How many did you just have in Texas
in Texas,
today?
we got about 15 inches in about 3 weeks this spring, you know what I mean? It was bad. So if you get so little rainfall, obviously everything's got to be irrigated then.
Yep, everything's under pivots, so we turn the rain on and off when we need to.
So that's handy for then obviously cutting it and curing it and baling it, and you can control the atmosphere a little bit better.
Yep.
Very good. Well, certainly a pretty field. I tell you what else up here could I do that would be a bunch of fun?
Clinton, I know you ride a lot of horses down in Texas, so we got something with a little more horsepower.
What do you got in store for me up here, mate?
We got some swathers.
Well, what the hell's a swather?
Well, it goes fast around these fields, and we get it all cut, put on the ground.
So it's basically a big lawnmower.
Yep.
And you're gonna let me drive it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sucker. Let's get out of here.
We've invested heavily in farm ground. We're big believers in keeping it from field to shelf, so controlling the quality from the field all the way to the retail shelf for the end consumer in some cases is very important to us. So we continue to invest. We can control quality when we harvest on our own farms. We grow it, we bale it, store it. That's key for us. It was a great opportunity for Clinton to be out with us. As we walked through that field, the soil was dry, the alfalfa was at the perfect maturity. It was great timing for him to be out there with us and be able to see it right before we cut it. Jason, I'd like to introduce you to Clinton Anderson.
Good to meet you, mate.
I'm the vice president of the ag division for the company. I handle all the planning, the irrigating, the harvest plans, and making sure we're getting the high quality out of all of our forage.
Well, listen, Jason, what are we doing out here, mate?
Well, we're just checking to see if this field's ready to cut. It's been dry and getting ready to go. We just checked it, and it's time.
So what is good conditions for you to be able to cut up?
We got to make sure the ground's dry. We shut the irrigation off about 6 days before we cut. Once the ground's dry and the forage is ready to go, we get going.
Good. And what about these machines back here?
So those are the swathers. That's what cuts it all down.
Yeah.
That's what I understand you'll be operating for us today.
Well, that's what he says. I think he's a fool for letting me do it, but I'll have fun doing it.
I'm a little worried.
Yeah, you should be.
All right, well, I'll let you guys get going.
Good deal. Thank you, mate. I appreciate
Send them
it.
off. I'll
Good
go
deal.
check some more fields.
All right.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, mate.
See you later.
So these machines are going to take off now?
Yep, yeah,
Right
they're
on.
ready to go. When the fields are getting close to being ready to harvest, that's when it's real important that we're out there. Our farm managers know what to look for, to know the right stage of growth when it's time to harvest it for the highest quality and consistency. Once we make the decision it's time to harvest, we know how many days till harvest, so we shut the irrigation off, let the field dry. You know, within 5 or 6 days, we get the equipment out there, we check it one more time. If everything looks good, we start cutting. But it's important that we have the ground dry before we cut the hay. So when we cut it and set it on the ground, there's no moisture down there. It lets the hay dry faster. That way, when we're ready to bale, keeps our quality high, and that way we don't have any problems with mold.
So, Jason, what does it take to raise premium forage?
Well, it all starts with the perfect conditions when we plant. We spend a lot of time out making sure the fields are perfectly level. And then you got to pick the right seed for the climate. You know, our farms are in different locations.
Like
where,
this farm's about 4,000 acres, isn't it?
Yeah,
So that's,
exactly.
is that a kind of a medium-sized farm for Standlee?
That's about average for us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 4,000 to 6,000 acres.
Right.
Yeah. The elevation makes a big difference. Here we're at about 5,300 feet, so we got to pick the right seed that'll handle the cold temperatures here. Other farms, we can pick one that can handle cooler temperatures but grows a little better. And
So you covered ground, getting the ground right. What else?
so then we plant. You know, got to plant it, and then we spend a lot of time just walking in the fields, checking them, making sure the seed's coming up right, irrigating right. Got to keep the moisture perfect.
So how often does each plant kind of get some moisture on it? Like I see you've got this pivot behind us. How often are you watering, the field? Once a week, every 10 days?
They actually run almost constant until it's time to cut. If it's cool, it'll start getting a little extra moisture in there, so we'll shut them down for a couple days, and then we fire them back up and keep them going until it's time to
So
cut
basically, by doing the pivot, you just can control the rain. It's ideal situation.
Exactly.
And then when
Yep.
you cut, you're cutting that water off, and you can control everything again. So I can
Right.
see why now Idaho is a great place to raise hay.
Right, yeah, we get most of our moisture in the winter, so in
Yep.
the summer we can shut the water down, cut
Yep.
the hay, let it cure naturally.
Yep.
And it's just perfect conditions for great forage.
Makes sense. So these machines are called swathers, is that correct?
Correct,
And that's
yep.
just a tractor that cuts hay, correct?
Exactly,
Like normal
yep.
tractor, my tractor, you can put different implements behind it.
Right.
This is just strictly for cutting hay.
Exactly,
Why
yep.
is that? Is it faster, more productive? Why don't you have a big mower behind a tractor?
It's mostly speed. They cut a lot faster and very consistent. We want every one of our machines to cut the hay exactly the same, so it's consistent throughout every field.
So what's the next step in this process, mate?
So after we cut it, we got to let it dry. In our Idaho dry climate, it'll dry in about 4 days.
Yes.
And then we got to bale it.
Bale it. Okay, very good. So when do I get to get in the tractor?
Let's do it right now.
Righto, I'm excited. Righto, Jason, this is the big moment.
Yep, this is the one. It does make me nervous to have new operators in those machines. They're pretty complicated to get used to.
Oh, man. Comfy.
Yeah.
So you're going to sit in here and tell me what the hell to do, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Righto, step one, mate.
Yep. So put your foot on the pedal down here and pull that steering wheel towards you. So just a quick rundown. This is what'll move you forward and back.
So it's a joystick, just
Yep.
like that.
You'll touch that one time, the front will go down. Once you get ready to go, touch that and it'll go forward.
Righto.
You'll click this thing, the yellow one, pick it up, push it forward, and you'll hear everything turn on.
Forgot most of it, but
Okay,
we'll
I'll
figure it out
as you go.
as
Okay.
we go. So how do we start this?
Yeah.
Where is there a brake in case there's a problem?
There's not. So if things go bad, turn the key off, and it's gonna stop instantly.
All right.
It's probably gonna hurt a little bit.
Okay, fair enough.
But most of the time with new operators, there is times we can have some issues.
It's making me nervous as hell. I'm going to be honest. What can I say? I'm a horse trainer. I'm certainly not a tractor expert, that's for sure. Okay, keep going forward.
Yep, now just got to go a little bit faster, though.
Faster.
Yeah. Got to try to catch up with those guys.
Yeah, they took off. I think they knew they were in danger.
Yeah.
Am I too far on the edge now?
No,
That's all right.
You're good. Now you can just, so it tells you right here your speed.
Holy shit. We're good. Okay, that's plenty fast for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't want to go any faster. Is this fast or slow for these machines?
It's really slow.
So basically, I'm driving like a big fairy.
Yep. Yeah.
Big Nancy boy.
When I put my grandma in here, that's how fast she goes.
That's funny. Because normally I like speed, but I gotta be honest, this machine, I just can tell with my personality and stupidity and a couple of drinks, I can get into trouble in a big way with this thing. Oh, that's funny. So these guys drive these swappers pretty much 8 hours a day.
Yep. Yeah,
They got a radio in here, they got their lunch, they just drive along.
Yep.
I can see how this could kind of be peaceful. Look how pretty it is out there.
Yeah, yeah, they got radio, they got air conditioning, they're just
That's
good to go.
amazing. Huh.
They
And do they always go together, like 4 together?
Yeah, 4 to, sometimes we have as many as 10.
But they
together.
try to stay in line with each other, or if that's the goal?
Well, no, once we get going, they'll kind of all go to their own section of the field.
Right, okay.
We want to do one field at a time, so that whole field will dry together, then
Right.
we move to the next field.
Okay.
So to keep the consistent quality and everything, we try to keep them,
Yeah,
fairly
they're
close
all
together.
cutting at the same time, not like 6 hours apart, correct?
Right, yep.
What was that?
Yeah, I think you hit a rock.
We hit a rock?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, this is kind of fun and kind of get used to it. I'm not going any faster though, but this is good.
Kind of making a bit of a mess here. Maybe we should park this thing and go try bailing some
I
hay.
think we should. You've seen how bad I am.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we stop it? What do we do
So
now?
just pull back on the orange lever till it stops moving.
Whoa, Nelly. Come to Daddy. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was fun
That was
and kind of stressful all at the same time. Let's have a look back.
A little crooked roads back there, but
Yeah, not real good straight lines right there, I gotta be honest.
yeah, we'll let the professionals come clean it up.
Exactly. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
If our neighbors saw how Clinton had cut that field, we're gonna be very embarrassed.
Let me tell you, Dusty was lucky I didn't wreck this thing.
Check out our latest catalog from Downunder Horsemanship. It's filled with beautiful imagery and in-depth information on all the products used in this show. Visit our website or call this number and we'll send it to your door free of charge.
After we cut the hay and let it sit out there for a few days, we'll check it. Once the top's dry, we'll rake it. And that's rolling 2 rows together to let the bottoms dry. And then let it sit for another day. And we go out and check for stem moisture is a bad thing. We don't want any moisture left in the stems of the plant. Once that's gone, we'll wait for dew at night. When the dew comes in, then we'll start baling. And the dew is important to help keep the leaves on the hay itself. If we bale too dry, they'll all fall off. So we wait till the perfect condition for baling to keep the leaves on there and keep the quality high. Our balers are set up with a tractor, and behind the tractor is the steamer and then the baler. So something new we've added for this season is steamers on our balers. It's a machine that adds steam right in front of the baler to help keep the leaves in the bale. It's used with just normal drinking waters, just anything we would all drink. It gets it hot, turns it to steam, and puts it on right in front of the baler. The operators, they know whether to stop or make adjustments. If the conditions aren't right, they'll call it a day. The best baling conditions for us are, it's gotta be when it's not too hot outside. The steamers, once it gets so hot, they can't keep up. And then at night, we can't get too much dew. So the perfect baling conditions would be late afternoon till about the middle of the night, and then early morning till it starts getting hot outside. After we bale, we get all the hay out of the field, we put it in the stack. The farm managers go out and grade the hay. They check for quality, any issues that might have happened during harvest. And then after the farm managers check it, we put a grade on it, and then we have a second group of people that come in and check it again and set a reserve on it for a certain customer or a certain process within our company. So we're double checking everything to make sure that it is the right grade So after we grade the hay, we decide whether it's going to stay on the farm till we use it later, or if we're going to haul it into our facility. Either way, we do it right away. We get it stacked up and tarped within 24 hours to maintain the quality of the hay as it was the day we baled it.
Well, mate, I'm off to the Standlee factory to see what's new. Hi, guys. How are you?
I'm very well.
I'm Clinton. What's your name?
Hi, Clinton. I'm Bob.
Bob, good to meet you. And?
I'm Brianna.
Brianna, good to meet you
Nice
guys.
to meet
So, Bob, tell me, what do you do here, mate?
Clinton, I'm the Vice President of the Standlee supply chain.
Very good. And Brianna, correct?
Correct.
What do you do here, mate?
I do quality assurance for all of our finished products.
So you're the lady that makes sure that my pallets and all my hay gets to me in good shape, is that right?
Yep.
Well, you do an excellent job, that's for sure. Well, listen, guys, it's been about 4 years since I've been here. What's new around Standlee Hay?
Well, Clinton, we've put in some really interesting, efficient machinery here, packaging equipment, some inspection equipment, some conveying systems to make the plant run a little more efficient and arrive at that high-quality hay that Brianna discussed with you a little earlier.
Very good. Are you going to be able to show me some of those machines today?
Oh, absolutely.
Very good. So you're going to give me a tour, correct?
We are.
Great. Well, let's get started.
Before we do, we got to get some safety equipment.
Oh, you do? You've got the good old safety equipment for you?
So a vest and some glasses.
Ah, sexy vest. I like it. I like where your head's at. Okay, very good. And the glasses. So I'm going to put this on now?
Yep.
Righto.
Clinton, this is our R-Pack machine. This is the machine that wraps our compressed hay bales for ease and convenience for the consumers.
Okay. And this is new since the last time I was here 4 years ago?
This is new since you were here last.
Okay, cool. So, Brianna, explain the idea of the plastic bag and what is this on top of it?
So there's a couple of things with the plastic. The first is when this is on store shelves, without the green film on it, the hay will tend to bleach from the store lights. So the green film helps the hay to stay its natural color.
Okay.
It is also for the ease of the consumer. You can throw that in the back of your trunk and you're not getting hay everywhere.
Fair enough.
Nice and clean. And then this is the handle. You just pick it up and carry it right that.
So you're ready to go?
Yep, ready to go. Just grab it off the shelf.
Has this been a big addition to the Standlee product line?
It has. We've been selling the compressed bales for a while, but then the wrapped is fairly new.
Okay. And been popular?
It has.
Very good. So, Bob, where are we going to next, mate?
Well, Clinton, right across the building here, we'll go to our conchetti bagger machine. That's also new since you were here last.
What is it called?
A conchetti bagging machine.
Okay. So, Bob, tell me about this machine, mate.
So this machine, Clinton, takes bags off of a roll,
Right.
runs them through, forms them, fills them through a scale, seals them, and then sends them down the line to the palletizer behind it.
Okay, and this is mainly designed for the alfalfa pallets, correct?
Correct. What we're running today is alfalfa pellets, although this machine will run the beet pulp pellets, it'll run cubes of timothy and alfalfa. So it's an all-purpose machine for our product line.
So basically, if I'm understanding, you can run a lot more bags through this in the old system.
Quite a few more,
Right.
yeah.
And the bags are better, tougher, better sealed.
You bet. More efficient, more consistency in the finished product. It sets the store shelf very well, and just better ease of use for our consumers.
Like, how many bags does this machine push out a day on average?
So it can run up to about 21 bags a minute, and it matches with the equipment behind it and the palletizing.
Man, that's a lot. Huh, pretty neat. So, Brianna, what is this machine here, mate?
So this is our metal detector. So as the bags go through, it checks to make sure there's no metal particles in these bags. If there are metal particles, then this pushes out and pushes the bag off.
Okay, help me out here. What would be metal in an alfalfa hay? You know what I mean? What are the common things that could be in? Not common, but what could be in there?
Well, the main thing that we worry about is any little particles from our equipment.
Right,
that
like
could possibly
the
get in.
blade of a mower, anything at all.
And then even with our pelleter equipment, how the grinders and everything it goes through, I mean, there's always a chance that there could be a little fragment.
And I suppose, you know, especially with a horse as gut, you know, anything is sensitive. So you guys are picking up it'll pick up very fine particles?
Very fine particles, yes.
Huh. So people can be guaranteed when it gets through this machine, there is nothing in there that's going to hurt their horse.
Right.
That's pretty important. That's excellent.
So after it goes through this, we weigh the bag.
Right.
Make sure we're getting our correct weight. They also do seal checks here, make sure the bags are completely sealed up.
Right.
Don't want any moisture or anything getting into these before they get to the consumer.
Okay.
And then we also check for the date code on the bottom of the bag. That way, if we ever have any issues, we can trace back to when it was produced.
Very good. So, Bob, what do we got going on here, mate?
The Clinton, this palletizer is matched up with the bagger, and what this does, this robot brings the bags off the conveyor belt onto the pallet in a very uniform and consistent way. And the great thing about this is that the machine is stacking these 40-pound bags as opposed to humans, so there is no risk of injury with this machine.
Right. Now, tell me, how many bags can this machine handle a minute?
So it matches up with the bagging machine. It can run up to about 20 to 21 bags a minute.
And very consistent. Once it does one side, then it goes to the other side?
Yeah, that's right. And the layers oscillate so that each layer is locked in for shipment to our customers.
So where do these pallets go from here?
So Clinton, after the pallets are ejected from the palletizer, they go down a conveyor belt where they're stretch wrapped and then finally ready for shipment to our customers.
Can you show that to me?
I will.
Righto, head out.
So Clinton, we just finished up looking at the packaging area.
Right.
Now we'll show you our finished goods sit-down area. And what's important about this is that we pack to stock and ship from our stock for orders to customers. So we have an assured supply of product for our customers.
So we only stack our pallets too high. That way we ensure that we're not damaging any of the product by putting too much weight on them. We saw that the pallets already got wrapped. Do that nice and tight, make sure the bags don't shift, they don't get ripped or anything during transportation. And then we also put pallet covers on them. This keeps them nice and clean, make sure we're not getting any dust or anything else on them. That way our bags are arriving in perfect condition to the store shelves.
And then where do these pallets go from here? On a truck, on a train? How do they get shipped out of here?
They can go on either. Some of these we load into rail cars, they get shipped to our distribution centers and then get shipped out. Some go into trucks and go straight to the stores. It just depends on who they're headed to.
So this product here, on average, how long does a product sit here before it gets shipped out to the consumer?
This is usually only here for about a week.
A week, and then it's out the door.
Right.
So pretty much from the time it gets baled to processed and out the door is a relatively short time period?
Correct.
We do a first in, first out inventory program. So we're shipping products to be as fresh as they can be as they hit the store shelves.
So that basically keeps the nutrient level up in the product. It's not sitting around for weeks and months on end.
That's correct.
That's the biggest thing I love about Standlee is the consistency. Everything I used to get tired of getting different shipments of hay, and every shipment would be different. Every shipment would be different quality. The protein, the nutrients, etc. That's one of the biggest things that I like about Standlee is that I know I get the same product all the time.
Since 2012, we've made great improvements in our plant. We've invested heavily in all sorts of items that help in quality and quality control. And we've also partnered with Dr. Duran. Dr. Duran coaches us through making great products for our customers. He's very passionate about having the best for what the animal needs.
Dr. Duran has helped us develop the Standlee Forage Finder to help simplify the complicated process of finding the right forage to feed your horse.
And he's truly passionate about Standlee Premium Western Forage and passionate about the animals, so it's a great fit and it makes us better at the end of the day.
As horse owners, we spend a great deal of time with our equine friends. both in competition, training, etc. And one of the things we often worry about is, are we feeding these horses correctly? And how do you really know? Well, there are several things that you can look at a horse, look at them visually, and you can tell, is my feeding program doing what it's supposed to be doing? And our subject here is a 24-year-old mare, and I'm going to show you just a little bit about body condition scoring, where you look at a horse and what that will tell you from a nutrition standpoint. So in body condition, you're looking at the overall fatness or thinness of the horse, and you're looking at different areas. We start and we look at the neck. A horse that has a big fat deposit associated with the neck, that's called a cresty neck. So we look at the neck, we palpate the neck. Can we feel a fat deposit? Are we getting a big wobble, a noticeable fat deposit in that area? Then we look at the shoulder area. Do we see the bones of the shoulder? Can you see the bony structure? That would be a horse, obviously, that's underweight. On the other hand, a horse that has globby or very soft spots on his shoulder, okay, is one that's carrying a lot of fat. Then we move back, we look at this area over the back. This is the area called the withers. Horses that have a very pronounced wither are thin. Horses that the withers seem to disappear, those are horses that are gaining fat deposits over the top line of that particular horse. Then as we move back in the horse, then we look typically over the ribs. If you can see the ribs, if you can feel the ribs, indicating a horse that's thinner. If you're pretty sure your horse was born with ribs but haven't seen them or felt them in years, indicate that the horse is probably overweight. Then the next area is we look at the horse from behind, and if we can turn this horse around, we can look at what we have here. What we're looking at is we're looking for any kind of bony protrusion associated with the hip. We're also looking for fat deposits on either side of the horse's tail head. We don't want big fat deposits, and they often develop over time, so we don't want those to occur as well. So typically, a horse that's 24 years old, a mare that's still active, we want those in a body condition score of somewhere between 5 and 6. This horse, as it stands now, is in a body condition score of 6. So this would be optimum or slightly high optimum. But again, factoring in the age of the horse, a body condition score of 6 is very acceptable. Now, in adjusting that body condition, either adjusting it up or down depending on the horse, then we start talking about diet, and we start talking about making feed decisions. A horse this size, this horse would probably weigh about 1,050, maybe 1,100 pounds is where this horse would weigh. How much forage do you feed? How much do they need? This horse can comfortably eat 2% of his body weight. So that's somewhere between 20 and 22 pounds of dry forage a day. If we consider how much grain we would ever feed to a horse like this, the maximum amount of grain that we'd ever feed is less than half the amount that we'd have as forage. So forage is truly the big component of the diet. Another important component with forage is forage quality. Horses do not have the ability to vomit, so they have a one-way digestive tract. What you put into that digestive tract has to go all the way through. If, for instance, if we had something for breakfast that didn't agree with us, we can actually get rid of that. A horse, on the other hand, cannot. It's got to go all the way through the digestive system. So feeding quality ingredient, quality forage is very, very important. The other criteria with forage is the better forage that we provide, the higher calorie, the higher nutrient content of forage, and the better forage that we provide, the less grain that we need to find or feed to provide these horses with the additional calories. So forage truly is the key in feeding these horses. And again, it doesn't make any difference if you have an endurance horse, a dressage horse, a jumping horse, a reining horse. They all center around good quality forage at first. The better the forage, the less grain, the less digestive upset that you're going to have with these horses. So we have many forage options that you can choose. What's the best forage for horses? And that's something that's debated worldwide. Do I feed an alfalfa type forage? Do I feed a grass type forage? Do I feed some sort of mix of different forages? And those choices are all available to horse owners. You can select the forage. Typically, I would like to think that we select forage based on the nutrient requirement of the horse. In other words, our higher calorie, higher protein forages are designed for horses that have the higher nutrient requirements. Unfortunately, a lot of the forage choices that people make are based on what's regionally available to them. Okay? But now that we're able to buy good quality forage, it's not something you just buy from a farmer, it's something that you can get in a retail store. We have the ability to change the forage component of the diet and make progress with feeding that particular horse. So this horse, 24 years old, okay, they're starting to lose some of their digestive efficiency. Because they're losing some of that digestive efficiency, maybe they need a higher nutrient quality hay. So this horse, normally, if it were 10 years younger, would probably be on primarily a grass-based forage. In this particular situation where we're getting some aging, we will go to a higher alfalfa type forage, a higher nutrient, higher protein, higher energy calorie value for the forage. With so many different forages available that we can feed to horses, how do we determine which forage is actually the best choice for our horse? Oftentimes, as equestrians, we rely on the advice of trainers, we rely on the advice of other people in the barn of which forage selection is actually the best for a horse. But at Standlee Premium Western Forage, we've actually developed some tools that we've put on our website that actually help determine which forage is the best for your horse. So we have the Forage Finder, and that Forage Finder allows you to put in questions or to answer questions about your horse, and then it gives you forage choices which would be nutritionally appropriate for that particular horse. And that's very handy in determining which forage is best for your horse. Am I feeding the correct forage to my horse? The other tool we have on there is we have a feed calculator. And what this does is this allows you, if you switch to a higher quality forage, if you go with one of the Standlee Premium Western forages with a higher nutrient content than local hays, it allows you to calculate how much feed you would save, how much grain you would feed, how much less grain you would feed when you're feeding Standlee Premium Western Forage. These are just two tools we've put on the website to help horse owners make informed decisions about feeding their horses.
Don't forget to check out our next training session with Titan and the Method.
We look forward to expanding our relationship with Clinton. It's been very good so far, and we look forward to working with him well into the future.
Standlee has been a big part of my business now for probably about the last 6 years. My horses rely on it. Like, you know, I'm absolutely fanatical about my horses being healthy and fat and looking good and great hair coat. And Standlee's a huge part of that. You know, obviously ADM is as well, and SmartPack, and the three companies all work on my horse's nutrition. But the foundation of my horse's diet is Standlee products. Okay, I'm always amazed of the quality or lack of quality of hay that people feed to their horses, and the same people complain that their horses are underweight, their horses' hair coat don't look good, they're not shiny, they're not slick, fat, etc. Gordon McKinley, my mentor in Australia, he always used to tell me, you know, I always noticed Gordon's as a kid, I always noticed his horses were really shiny and bloomed and were really healthy looking and just a perfect amount of weight. And I noticed he never used to brush them a lot, because I always thought that brushing them is how you got a horse real shiny. And he said to me, he said, Clinton, I brush them from the inside out. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, I feed my horses the very best quality feed I can. And when you feed your horse the best quality feed, and you make sure that they're dewormed and they have no parasites, they naturally bloom on the outside. And he was dead set right. He told me that, oh, I don't know, close to, you know, probably 27 years ago now, okay? And I still believe that. My horses shine on the outside because of what I put on the inside, and Standlee is a big part of that. Well, Mike, this looks pretty good. How are you, big fella?
How are you doing?
Good to see you. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Man, did you prepare some food for us?
You bet, man. Got some
What do you got here?
tenderloin and tri-tip.
That's amazing. Well, listen, you took care of us 4 years ago when we were up here, and you're taking care of us again. The company looks great, mate. You should be very, very proud of what Standlee's accomplished, and I'm very proud to be a part of what you're doing here. It's
Well, I
been phenomenal.
appreciate that.
It really has. All jokes aside,
been a
my
good
horses have
partnership.
never looked as good as they have.
Good.
Yeah.
We're glad to hear that.
Well, listen, we're going to have a couple of drinks tonight. We're going to enjoy each other's company and have a good time.
We started with Clinton in 2012. The partnership's been great. Clinton has a very high standard in his training and a lot of passion for his animals. We carry that same passion for what we do in delivering a premium product to our consumers. We're involved with Clinton at his tours, his ranch rallies. We're always trying to come up with ideas to work with Clinton that are effective in the marketplace and are meaningful to our consumers.
At Standlee, we strive to exceed consumer expectations by having high quality, readily available, convenient products all throughout the United States. So no matter if you're in the Northeast or in the Southwest, you'll find the same quality product at the retail shelf.
We have an extensive distribution network across the West that we feed out of our direct plants here in Idaho. We have 3 distribution centers on the East Coast, which allows us to deliver our products to consumers on the East Coast, which is very important to us.
What that means to the consumer is that they can find our product no matter where they're at in the United States, and they can assure that the quality is going to be the same whether they buy it in the Northeast or the Southwest. Standlee has built its reputation by providing high-quality forage to the equine industry, and the company continues to innovate new products and new ideas, forage-based ideas.
I think the things that make us really align well with Standlee is that we're both fanatical about quality. Okay, it's not quantity, it's quality. I don't want a horse leaving my ranch unless it's trained with the method the right way. I don't want my performance horses going to a horse show unless they look and feel and train their best. Standlee do not want one bag of pellets, one bale of hay, anything to go out their door unless it is the highest quality. That's what I respect about them the most, is that they're absolutely fanatics about quality. I've been up there during their quality control, and what they've rejected sometimes, I'm like, that wasn't that bad. And they're like, no, it wasn't perfect. And that's what they're looking for, and that's why I like to be aligned with companies that have the same values as me.
Part of our value proposition of bringing quality to the consumer starts at the field level, all the way from growing the crop in the field, through the plant, through the packaging and distribution, to the retail shelves. By the time it ends up in the consumer's barn, they have that same high-quality product just like it started out in the field.
You got a drink here? Well, let's have a toast. Cheers.
All right, here you go.
To Standlee and Downunder Horsemanship. Thanks, mate.
There you go.
Cheers. I tell you what, Mike, after the long day I've had, this is really going down well.
Yeah, I should have started about an hour earlier.
Better late than never. Better late than never.
Yeah.